Hey everyone, it's Aidan here. In this week's training, we're basically going to break down the some of the approaches and mindsets and the principles that we like to follow to actually create consistent leads through our social media. We get asked a lot about how do we do social media? Where do you get leads from? Do I have to do paid ads? Do I have to do Google ads, Facebook ads? Do I have to go and do SEO and have a website? And do I have to do all these million and one things? And the truth is, no, you don't. You've got more than enough at your disposal literally right now to get consistent leads over the long haul, truth be told. We can upgrade later on and upgrade websites, business cards, all that kind of stuff later on. But basically in this session, we're going to go over the social media element. How do we actually use and leverage our socials for that? So we're going to start with a couple of clear mindsets so you understand bigger picture thinking in terms of how do we see social media on the big picture scale. Then we're going to give you some principles. I can't remember how many there are. I think there are 7 principles to actually start following if you want to actually turn your social media into a gig getting machine, which is totally possible. So with that said, let me move my head down here. And we're going to basically weaponize your social media posts. So that's what we're doing. We're turning your social media into a weapon. But first, opinions don't pay the bills. Before we even get into the principles, I don't care what you think about social media, whether you love it, whether you hate it, whether you despise it. It's an incredibly powerful tool that we can start using today to start building the momentum that we need inside our entertainment businesses. Now, I hated social media for so long, like the longest time I was against it. In fact, if you listen to any of the Successful Mentalist podcasts for like the first 60 episodes, 60, 70 episodes, I'm 90% sure you'll hear in all of those me hating on social media just because I was that against it. And then I started using it and then it became really great. So what I want you to do as we go through the rest of this training is remember that your opinions do not pay the bills, but a really great social media plan can do that. So again, leave your opinions on the side. For now, we'll just shelve those. If you don't like any of this stuff, you can pick them back up and continue as per. Maybe this isn't right for you. But for now, just shelve your opinions and let's crack on with this. So step 1, I need you to know that your business is doomed. Your business is already set up to fail on social media, especially on Facebook, for example. Facebook is really, really clever in that Facebook put out all of this stuff. For example, your Facebook page, if you've got a page and you've noticed that you don't really get much engagement off of that, or your page doesn't seem to be getting the reach that it used to, it doesn't really do that anymore, you're not the only one. And that's because Facebook have changed the way that they run and their priorities in terms of news feeds, and now pages are being screwed left, right, and center. In fact, a friend of mine, she runs a coaching business outside of this. She's got 84,000 people on her Facebook page. She does not use her Facebook page just because she doesn't get the reach, she doesn't get the engagement. People don't see your posts on your page. So this is something we'll talk about a little bit later on. But I need you to know that your business is straight up doomed. You are probably bombarded whenever you register with a new account, whether that's Facebook, whether that's Instagram, whether that's TikTok, whether that's a Google account, whatever it might be. You're probably bombarded with promotions to say, hey, you can get your special this, we're going to credit this much for paid ads for you, because they want to nurture that so they can actually take your money out of your pocket. Because at the end of the day, if your business is growing using their platform, theoretically, the big Zuck could probably take a look, not hating on Mark Zuckerberg here, but because it's not his decision. Well, story for another time, we'll leave that one there. But the point is that Facebook sees you as a business owner doing well out of it. Well, they feel like entitled to take some of the cash in that you're making. So again, that's a little mindset there. And please note that your business is already doomed, but it's okay because we can fix it in this session. Now, principle or mindset sort of number 1 here is, let me move my head out of the way so you can actually read it. Mindset or principle number 1 is that it's not social media. I know I've said it's social media quite a bit, but it's not. You think way back, social media was never originally called social media. I think Facebook, when that first launched, was it Facebook? No. It was a social networking tool. In fact, it was called the Facebook when it was first launched, but it was a social networking tool, not a social media tool. The point wasn't chuck a load of media up there. The point was, way back in the original days of social media, it was about that networking, connecting college students together. And then that grew, and then that grew and grew and grew and grew. And now there's something like millions upon millions of people with creating blooming Facebook accounts every year, because it's not a media platform. It's a networking platform at its finest. So again, that's really important. And it also explains the next point, which is quite simply, content is not king. As much as we hear it around all the time, like, content is king, you got to make sure you're posting loads of stuff, you got to do 4 posts a day with the relevant hashtags and all this kind of stuff. Ultimately, if you're basing your entire business off of the content that you chuck out there, you're going to struggle. I tried this for a little while and realized, in fact, there was a week, this was years ago, but I thought, like, I'll do a trick every day. And unless you are naturally a creator, you're naturally good at creating new tricks and variations of tricks and stuff, you'll struggle with that. And I think after about 10, 15 days, I called it quits, because I just couldn't think like that fast. I couldn't create the content. I couldn't build good content consistently. And as a result, it also wasn't working for me in terms of bringing in leads or bringing in any form of interest and stuff. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, my mates thought it was cool. But it just goes to prove the point that, yes, we know it's not social media, it's a social networking, so that content isn't the king. It's what we actually do with the content that is the king. And again, final sort of mindset here, or important mindset here, is that the platforms only ever have one job, regardless of what it is, whether that is the Facebook, whether that's Instagram, whether that's Twitter, whether that's MySpace, if that's still a thing. I've never registered. Just going to make it clear, I've never registered for MySpace. I don't even know what. I could not describe it to you. I know it's just something that's apparently died a long time ago, but we'll move past that. The platforms only have one job. It's the same for all of them, but it's one job: keep you on the platform for as long as possible. That's it. That's the only job of these platforms. And why do you see, when you scroll through your news feed and stuff, when you scroll through your news feed, you see posts from people that you like, or people that you've connected with, or people that you follow? It's because they want you to engage with those people, watch their videos, see their content, engage with their content, because that's going to keep you on the platform for the longest. And that's the only job. That's all they do. They could do that through advertising, they could do that through the posts that you actually see, the algorithms and all that kind of stuff. But long story short, the platforms have one job, and that's just to keep you using their platform, because that's how they make money. But here's the thing, now we know that, you've got an unfair advantage. I'm going to move myself back down here. You've got an unfair advantage because you know all of that now. You know that the job of the platforms is to keep you on. You know that it's not just about chucking as much content out there. Content is not king. What you do with the content is really important. It's the networking element of it that's really, really important. So again, unfair advantage. What's the unfair advantage? Yes, you know this, but it means that you get to play to this kind of stuff. It means that you can now do what all of these platforms actually want from you. And as a result, you'll be rewarded. Your stuff will get seen by more people. You get naturally more engagement, which will naturally convert to more leads. And as a result, everyone's a winner. So again, remember, that's your unfair advantage. So a bunch of really simple do this, and this kind of stuff going forwards. Step number 1 is limit your links. We know that the basic principle of the platform is to keep you on for as long as possible. So if you're sending people constantly, every post that you put out there, a link to your website, is Facebook going to like that? Is Instagram going to like that? No, of course they're not going to like that, because it's sending them off the platform. It goes against their number 1 rule. So limit your links. If you're sending people to YouTube videos, bear in mind, like, that's a very valid thing. It's content marketing at its finest, actually sending people this stuff. But bear in mind, your reach is naturally going to be lower because it's taking people off the platform. Okay. So point number 1 is limit your links. Don't eliminate them, but just limit them. Okay. Number 2, ask for engagement. Actually ask for engagement. At the end of the day, couples don't get married unless someone asks. It's just the way it is. Someone has to ask and start that relationship there. So actually asking people for engagement is totally fine. And I'm not saying here, if you like this video, comment down below. I'm not doing like one of those kind of things. I'm talking like actually ask a question. Literally ask. Pineapple on pizza. That's a classic favorite. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no? If you use Instagram, you can use that as an Instagram story just to get somebody clicking a poll or messaging you. Hell yes, hell no, and starting a conversation like that. Pineapple on pizza, let me know in the comments. That way you're actually asking people, and you're training your audience, the people in your network on social media, to respond to you which means that later on, when you're asking for things like gigs and posting about gigs or tickets to your show, you're going to get quick reactions from people. You're going to actually get reactions from people, because we've all been there. So we've posted about like a new show or a booking's now available, and we've heard the crickets. And it's because we haven't trained our audience to actually respond to us in the right way. In fact, literally by training my audience to respond to me on my Instagram in particular, that's literally what's helped me sell out my show in less than 24 hours just this week. Because my audience had the habit of engaging, getting involved, and they appreciated what it is that I was putting out there. So really important nuance there. Number 3, we mentioned this earlier, but ditch the business. Yes, you might have your business head on, and the point is to go and get gigs using social media. But if you're asking for gigs in every post, people aren't going to reply. People aren't going to, or few people, I say people, I'm talking generally a majority here. People aren't going to just see a posting, oh, yes, he looks great in that suit. Oh, that's a very nice deck of playing cards he's spread across the table with his cup of coffee this morning. I'm going to book him for a show. It doesn't work like that. And as a result, we need to basically ditch the business. The business is one thing behind closed doors. For now, we've just got to build those relationships with the people, actually serve the audience, let them know that you're a good person, because people don't buy from XYZ Magic, the business name. They buy from you, the person. For me, they don't buy Aidan the Wizard, and that's my official branding, guys. They don't buy Aidan the Wizard. They buy me. They buy what I can offer them, because I'm a good person for them in this particular situation. So again, ditch the business. And in fact, we spoke earlier about pages and how pages suck when it comes down to reach and all that kind of stuff. That's why I like to use my personal profile. My personal profile is great. And I encourage that you do the same. If you're constantly posting to a page and you're seeing limited engagement, just consider switching that and putting this either as well or instead of on your personal profile. Now, yes, there's a thin line behind this kind of stuff in terms of using your personal profile for business and all that kind of stuff. But that's why you lead with that value and you stop asking for gigs in that kind of format. You stop posting and promoting constantly. You're actually sharing valuable stuff. So again, principle number 3 is ditch the business. That comes afterwards. Number 4, track your connections. Now, what I'm not saying here is go and follow loads of people, go and add loads of people as friends, and then just hope that that's how it works. And it because it doesn't, truth be told. Instead, what we want to look at is actually tracking your connections bit by bit. What are the real connections that you've made? How many conversations, like message conversations, have you had with people? How many private messages have started? How many comments, threads have been in any given week? If you're a listener of the TSM podcast, this is a really great opportunity to start tracking your numbers as part of your Mission X protocol. If you're not a TSM podcast listener, you might not be aware of that protocol. I believe it's episode 89. You can head over to thesuccessfulmentalist.com/pod list, all one word, pod list, and you'll have a full list of all of our episodes. You'll be able to go and find it there. But the point there is that you're tracking your connections and make it a weekly commitment to actually take a look. How many conversations did I get started this week? How many new people have I started speaking to? How many people have I kept up relationships with? When you start measuring this stuff, it's really easy for you to see what you need to do to improve. In fact, Peter Drucker once said, what gets measured gets managed. And it's perfectly right. What gets measured gets managed. So manage the actual real tangible connections that you're making with people as you're pushing content out there. Okay. Number 5, repeat what works for you. And so many people, we hear it so often that people say, oh yeah, I used to go live once a week on my Facebook, and that really got good engagement and that was good fun. And I just kind of got bored and stopped doing it. Well, if that was getting good engagement and people were booking you off the back of those live streams, why on earth would you stop that? That's a really great opportunity for you to keep doing. If that works in your little bubble, great, keep doing that. For some people, it might not be that. It might just be asking a specific question every so often. In fact, there's a bunch that myself and Ashley, we love to use. In fact, we've got 3 different categories of those. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But these are questions that work really, really well to get consistent engagement and lead to bookings. So again, find what works for you and just repeat that. Turn it into a process. Put it in your calendar so you know, after this amount of time, I'm going to post this again. I'll post a slightly different version of this. I'm going to do this thing again. I'm going to go live again. Because what you want is that consistent rhythm, which I believe comes into number 6. Yeah, show up. Most people suck at social media, and most entertainers suck at social media because they just show up for a little while and then they just leave. Nothing's working, so I'll leave. And the real key is to be consistent. Actually show up. Make sure you're showing up every day, every week, however often you actually want to be showing up. But make sure it's consistent. If you want to post 2 or 3 times a week, do that. Don't burn yourself out and do something that's not possible. For example, if you want to go out and post a new video, a 5-minute well-edited video every single day, well, first off, can you do that? If yes, how long for? Because what you want to do is you want to make sure that you can do this consistently over the long haul and keep showing up, even when your life gets busy, when you get busy, when something else is happening. You want to make sure you're still showing up, providing value, being an actual good person to your audience. Okay, so make sure you're showing up. And then number 7, if you want to get booked, this is really the most important one. If you actually want to get booked by people off of your social media, you speak to your audience. You speak to those people, not your mates. You speak to your audience, not your mates. Now, there's a high probability that I have never seen you perform before. And I think that's fair across the board. It's a high probability that I have never seen you perform before. But I'm sure as heck, I'm 150% confident that you speak to your mates differently to how you'd speak to your audience. Why? Because it's a very different situation. You're not trying to appeal to your mates here. You're appealing to the people that you either stood on stage for, however many people you stood on stage for, the amount of people that have come to your show, the amount of people that you're sat around a table with or mingling with. You speak to those people, not your mates. So it requires a different type of language. So actually the content that you're putting out there, we need to make sure that it's relevant to our actual audience. For example, if you're posting out there constantly things like you're constantly down the pub every week or every night or whatever, and you're looking for high-end corporate clients, there's a disconnect, right? You're showing off on social media what your mates want or what you and your mates do, not what your corporate clients do. And again, that's just one example. It may or may not be true for you. It could be whatever. But what you've got to do is you've got to make sure that the content that you are putting out there, yes, we know that content isn't king, but it's the content that's going to lead to engagement. It's going to lead to conversations. It's going to lead to the next step. So you've got to make sure that in order to do that, you're speaking to the right people. If you want weddings, make sure that your content is specific to brides and grooms. There's some really important stuff there to actually pay attention to. Now, if you want help with any of this, we would love to actually help you. This is one of the many things that we actually cover inside our Momentum program. It's basically a 6-week program designed to get you up to $2,000 a month in your entertainment business by creating a clear set of desirable offers that you can charge at least £500 for. Get you a set of consistent leads so that you're getting leads every single week and clients every single week. We're also going to talk about your sales process as well to make the whole process really, really easy so you can sell these £500+ packages, dollar packages, without it being awkward and uncomfortable. Because again, they're the 3 major problems. And today we kind of zoomed in a little bit in terms of consistent leads and using our social media for that lead gen part. So anyway, if you want some help with this, we would love to have you inside the program. Just comment below Momentum. See what I'm doing here? I'm asking you for engagement. If this is something that you want, just comment Momentum just down below and we'll reach out with all of the details. But anyway, hopefully that's been useful. Great to see you. Catch you very soon.